Hi everyone, hope you're doing good. This is my album review for Trivium's In the Court of the Dragon. Now this come out about nearly 2 months ago, but I wanted to take my time on this because, as you might know, they're one of my favourite bands. This is their 10th album. Show you the inside. Come out on Roadrunner Records, and as I said, these are one of my favourite bands. I did a ranking video not that long ago before this come out, so it's a bit outdated now. At the end of this video I will do a re-ranking, so stay tuned for that, but let's just get straight into this. It's a great album, really is. There's tons going on in all the different songs. There's all the songs are quite different as well. There's a lot of progressive stuff, bit of thrash, bit of metalcore, a lot of sort of melodic stuff going on as well. I'd say it's more aggressive than their previous albums, lots more aggressive vocals, and a little bit more consistent, I think, as well. It's a bit more progressive than any other album they've done, and they also include some orchestral arrangements in the songs as well, which I think is a really cool addition. Before we get into the proper review, I'll just go through a little brief history of the band. They started in 2000. Matt, the vocalist, joined the band when he was 13. The band split, and half the band sort of stayed in Trivium, the other half went off and done their own thing. They started as a metalcore band, but they had more thrashy, modern heavy metal stuff going on, and then they sort of got more into that vein as they've gone on. They've changed their sound quite a bit over the years. In the 2010s, they sort of went a bit more commercial, but with the Sin in the Sentence, they got the balance perfect of their old stuff and with their new sound, which is cool. They also released an album last year, What the Dead Men Say, but they couldn't tour it, so they thought, instead of just sitting here doing nothing, we'll just make another album. So yeah, that's what they've been doing since they released the last one. And the only real lineup changes they've had are drummers. They've had 3 different drummers in the band, and the rest of them have sort of stayed the same for the last nearly 20 years. But right, let's get into the album now. My top 3 tracks are In the Court of the Dragon, title track, Like a Sword Over Damocles, and the Phalanx. Let's start with the first song. It was the first song that was released. I absolutely love the aggression in the vocals and the song as a whole. It's really, really cool. I love the chorus riff. It's really, really innovative and really cool. The riff before the guitar solo is really, really awesome, like breakdown. I like the orchestration towards the end of the song. Some really cool guitar solos, brilliant drumming. I think it might be one of my all-time favourite Trivium songs. Then Like a Sword Over Damocles, which is the next song on the album. I really like the thrashy riffs, and the opening riff's really cool. The riff before the chorus is a little bit sort of death metal-y, black metal-y, which I really like. The chorus again is really, really cool. The melodic solos in the middle is really, really, really awesome. I love Corey's solos, just hits the spot for me. Some really cool progressive bits going on in the song. Corey's sweepy solo as well, I love that. Brilliant vocals again on that song. And the Phalanx, which is the last song on the album, it's the perfect end to the album. I really love the intro riff, and it goes into this riff that sounds a bit like Shogun, and there's a reason for that, because they actually wrote the song during Shogun, but they never used it until now. They finally sort of worked it out and put it all together. Yeah, the vocals are great. I love the chorus. It's sort of that Shogun-esque sound. If you know the song Shogun, it sounds a lot like that. Some really cool riffs. The orchestral arrangements going on in the song's really, really cool. Just adds so much to it. The middle part of the song, the riffing and the solos are blooming brilliant. I love that bit. Some really cool technical riffing. Heavy, brutal riffs as well. Really, really great. Now let's just fly through the rest of the album. There's only 10 tracks, so this shouldn't be too long. The intro track is just X or 10 in Roman numerals. It's just like the intro to the album. It's like an orchestral version of In the Court of the Dragon, which is pretty cool. But they've done the same with What the Dead Men Say. They sort of had a little intro. Sort of doesn't really count as a proper track. And then the next song is Feast of Fire. That's a really enjoyable song. First time I heard it, I think it was the second single, I thought, yeah, it's pretty cool, but it's sort of grown on me a bit more, and yeah. It's got a very like Vengeance Falls vibe to the song. Sounds like it could be on that album. The vocal deliverance is very like Vengeance Falls. Some really cool groovy melodic riffs. Really cool chorus again. Paolo's bass playing on that song's really cool. He does a really cool tappy bit at the end. And Corey Bellew, the brush, sweeping everywhere. It's awesome. I love that solo. It's brilliant. Next song, A Crisis of Revelation. That was really close to the top 3. Give me a lot of Ascendancy vibes to some of the riffs, especially the song, the riff before the chorus reminded me a lot of Ascendancy. Great vocals on that song again, as always. I like the breakdown riff in the middle of the song, and Matt's solo is really, really cool. And I love that bit sort of in the middle where it sort of slows down and the bass is doing this really awesome riff, and then there's some tapping going on. Brilliant, brilliant. Love that song. Shadow of the Abattoir is next, and that song grew on me the most out of all the songs on this album. When I first heard it, I wasn't too sure about it, but then as it went on, I really love it now. I think that could be Matt's best vocal performance, maybe ever. The range of his vocals, like, starts off really, really low, and then towards the end of the song, he hits these high notes as well. It's just unbelievable. I just, never thought Matt could do that, but he definitely showcased that on this song. I really like the slow progressive intro, and then it sort of, got that sort of Silence in the Snow, Sing the Sentence sort of style chorus, which is really awesome. And then it gets heavy in the middle. Some really cool guitar solos. Corey's is unbelievable again. And then, towards the end of the song, Alex puts in these brilliant sort of drum fills. I love that. Just the whole song is just fantastic. Now we're sort of going to get towards the second half of the album. No Way Back, Just Through. I like the song, but the only problem I've got with it is the chorus. I think it's terrible, to be honest with you. It's really uninspired. When you've got choruses on here, like the other songs, In the Court of the Dragon and Like a Sword Over Damocles and all of them choruses, and then they do the generic rubbish chorus that I think, anyway. That's my only gripe. The song itself is really cool. It's got some cool heavy riffs in it. I like the pre-chorus riff. It's got the trem picking bit, and then it sort of does this really cool riff. But then it goes into the chorus, which I don't like. But some cool solos, and it gets really heavy towards the end of the song, which is cool. But yeah, not one of my favourites. Next is Fall Into Your Hands. This one was close to the top 3. It's got a really cool, interesting drum intro, and then some really cool progressive sort of style riffs throughout the song, really. It's got some cool thrash riff in there as well. The orchestral parts, again, sort of swaying in and out. Really, really cool. I like that. I like the chorus. The chorus riff's really cool. But, the lyrics, he just says, fall into your hands 4 times, and that's, maybe could have done something a bit different there, but whatever. The vocals are really, really great. Again, the bass parts as well. Paolo's bass is brilliant. I love the dual soloing in the middle with the progressive riffing. And then towards the end of the song, the guitars sort of fade out and then it fades in with the orchestral parts, sort of the orchestra sort of playing the riff towards the end, which is pretty cool. I found that really, really interesting. And then the last song, or second to last song on the album, From Dawn to Decadence. This was my least favourite song on the album. I think it's got some cool riffs in there. The chorus is alright. Wasn't a massive fan of the lyrics in the chorus again. You know, I think, you know, that and No Way Back Just Through sort of do suffer from poor lyrics in the chorus. The solo's interesting. The drumming's pretty good as always. But for me, I just think that's the real drop off on this album. That's my least favourite. It's just not as good for me as everything else. Right, so now let's move on to the verdict. I think it could be their best album in 10 years, at least. Maybe even since Shogun. I think it's much better than what the Dead Men say. It's way more consistent. There isn't really a lot wrong with it for me, apart from, you know, the No Way Back Just Through chorus, Dawn to Decadence, but only tiny little nitpicks, really. Matt's vocals are unbelievable. As usual, he's just got such a great, underrated voice. His guitar playing is really great as well. Alex Bent, their drummer, is just not human. Some of the things he can do on the drum kit is just is beyond belief, really. Corey Bellew, I call him the brush because he sweep picks everything. He's sweeping it up everywhere. He's sweeping up the floor. Yeah. Unbelievable guitar player. And Paolo's bass playing, brilliant. Again, very underrated bass player, I think. He's just, you know, he can do some mad stuff if he wants. But yeah, definitely go check this album out if you haven't already. I think it could be a really, really good place to start with the band, potentially, if you've never listened to them before. But yeah, it's going to get a really high score. It's going to be really high on my end of year list. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10 because I think it's that good. Now I'm just going to quickly update my album ranking. If you never watched my original video, I'll probably leave it at the end of the video or whatever, or maybe in a link somewhere. But you don't really need to because it's outdated now. So my updated ranking, the only thing that I changed was I swapped Ember to Inferno and What the Dead Men Say round. But now the most important thing, where does In the Court of the Dragon sort of place on my list? Well, I don't know if you didn't see my original one. I said that it would take a lot to beat The Sin, the Sentence, and for me, this album beats it. Which it was hard to sort of put it above it, but then when I thought about it, I thought, you know what, I think this is actually better than Sin. So In the Court of the Dragon is now 4th, Sin, the Sentence is now 5th. And then, yeah, top 3 stays the same. Everything else stays the same. So, there you go. There's my updated ranking. So, that was my album review of Trivium's In the Court of the Dragon. And also my updated ranking of their discography. I'd love to know what you thought of this album if you listened to it. Or will you go check it out now after this review? And also, what's your favourite Trivium album? Yeah. As for album reviews, I probably won't be doing any more for 2021. Maybe if I get any, I don't know, I might. But coming up very shortly in a few weeks' time, it will be the last video of the year. I'll be doing my top albums of 2021, so hope you join me for that. And I've got plenty more guitar, rock and metal music stuff coming up as well. Yeah, so if you got this far, thanks ever so much for watching. Subscribe if you're new. And until the next one, keep it metal.